Hi guys, Scott Franklin here from Scott Franklin Performance Coaching. I help people live awesome lives with no regrets. So today I wanted to share with you some of the challenges that I've had writing this book, because I feel that like on Facebook you get to see all the glory of it and all the positive side of it once it's all polished and finished or close to finished, but there's so much that goes into it behind the scenes. So I just wanted to give everyone a bit of an insight into what my journey's been with it. So the first part in writing a book is obviously developing the content. So you've got to have some good ideas. And it's not just to have good ideas, but other people have also got to think they're good ideas as well. That was probably the first part for me, is because I had these, the concepts that I use in my coaching, and obviously I think it's awesome and the best stuff in the world, but other people also share the same opinion. So you need to have that validation to validate that you're on the right track. Just to start with, that's your information. Then the next part is becoming an expert in your field. So I feel that you've got an idea and you've got the content, then you need to go and roll it out with lots and lots of different people, because you're going to make mistakes. There's trial and error. You have all the teething problems. They give you feedback. You realize you're off track sometimes and you've got to bring it back on track. Like there's just trial and error that you have to get done before you can even become close to be an expert in a particular part of that field. The next part is giving it all structure. So I know for me, like I had a million good ideas, but it's like, well, how do I organize and structure all of that? So for me, I just needed to get a coach. I've had two awesome coaches help me with this particular part of the project. Number one is Adrian D'Amico. He's my business, marketing, social media coach and personal development coach. Awesome having him on side to help. He's very grounded and he's good at help rolling out all the steps, and obviously with his business and marketing background, he can give me insights into the wording and all that kind of stuff. And then the other person is Brett Odgers. So Brett is my book writing coach. Now he has given me a deeper insight into what it actually requires to write a professional standard of book, and just getting it to a certain level and making sure you don't leave any important things out. So them two are integral part of helping me. And I'm a coach, so it's like, I just want people to know, just because people are coaches doesn't mean they know everything. In fact, it's the opposite. We need coaching as well to keep taking us up through the level. So that's super important. I've also had Roxy Laws, who I work with at Earth Angels. She's written a best-selling book as well, so I can also ask her for advice or to read over parts and just give me insights, because she's in a similar industry as well. So it just helps having different people like that in your life to read over it and give you insights and to make sure you're on the right track. The next part is the transcription. So if a lot of people don't already know, these days you don't have to sit down and write the book from cover to cover. You can use transcription. So I could transcribe this video and that could be a chunk of it. I could use previous videos, podcasts, letters that I've written, emails, anything that's got writing in, you can add that to your book as well as writing. So my book's a mixture. I've used absolutely everything I've done, whether it be the things that I've just mentioned. I've written parts of it. It's a complete mixture. So it's just getting the transcriptions done. Now, when you get the transcriptions done, what I've noticed, and I didn't see this coming, is there's a huge difference between how you talk versus how you write. So when you get the transcription back, it just doesn't read as well as it writes. So then it requires editing. Now, in general, I'm a big picture person, so I'm good with concepts and joining things together and ideas and all that kind of stuff. The part I don't enjoy is the detailed, is the finesse kind of all the little nitty gritty type things like that. I just feel that I can get caught up in procrastination and not making progress. Anyway, that end of the scale, it's just not particularly my thing. So I'd rather have an editor do that part for me. Now, for those of you that don't know, there's different kinds of editors. So I'm still not 100% on exactly what their roles are and how it works, but this is my experience. So the first editor was probably more of a structural editor. So they're just basically checking that the book structurally fits how it's meant to fit and kind of makes sense and follows the structure of a book. That's about it. They don't really help with the flowing of the book and the sentences to make sure it all flows and makes sense. They can do it, but it's not their area of expertise. So to do that, you can either get a ghostwriter. Now a ghostwriter, basically you tell them your ideas and they write for you. Whereas for me, I already had my book written, so I didn't need a ghostwriter. Even though I hired a ghostwriter for a small amount of time, I soon realized that they weren't the right person to help me. And then I got stuck for a while. And then a friend recommended to me that what I actually needed was a copywriter and a sub-editor. So they basically get your words ready for the editor. So for that structural editor to go over and check it, make sure it's all good, you need a copywriter sub-editor. So I've had varying degrees of success for that. My challenges are that if you want good professional help here in Australia, it just costs you a bomb, and sometimes it's not that practical, money-wise to be able to pay. Even though I'd love to, the finances aren't always there, and from small business land aren't always there to back that up and to go and to get that done. So we've got to go overseas to find it. So we outsource it on websites or internet sites like Fiverr and Upwork. We get people they're meant to do the same quality of work for a much lesser price. So they definitely do it for a much lesser price. I don't know if the standards there 100%, but I do believe you get what you pay for. So I got a copywriter and sub-editor. What I found is that you need to give them exact details of what you want to get done. But what I found, by the time you give them that level of detail and instruction of what you want to do, you might as well have done it yourself. Then the other thing I noticed is, probably because you're not paying them, the big bucks for doing it, you're paying them much lesser amount, then you're probably getting that quality of work back. It's just my experience. So I would find mistakes in what they've done, and I'm like, guys, you're meant to be finding my mistakes, not the other way around. So I just become micromanaging, which I hate doing. I hate micromanaging other people. It was incredibly frustrating, but it's almost like a necessary evil if I wanted to get the book done. So finding the right editor. The next thing is my book has images, so I've had to find a cartoonist. So again, it's a trial and error of process until you find the right person. I went on Fiverr originally, and I just found the quality of work on there wasn't there. They were cheap, but the quality wasn't. And then I went on to Upwork. Upwork had a much better quality of cartoonist. Ended up finding a really good cartoonist. It takes a while back and forward until they find exactly what style you're after and what you want to do. But when it clicks really well. Some challenges I've had with anyone on any of these sites, whether it be Fiverr or Upwork, is they tend to really haggle on the price. And even after the price has been fixed, some of them still tend to try and, squeeze a bit extra out of you, where it's kind of like, well, guys, I went onto this internet site because I was looking for that cheaper price and we've already agreed on the price. So, they just tell you stories, and it's hard because they tell you stories about their family and people are sick and they need more money, and we're lucky here in Australia, and really just guilt you into trying to pay more money, which I understand where they're coming from. But yeah, I'm running a business as well, and it's just a tricky situation. It's just one of them things that it's just the nature of the beast with that type of stuff. Another thing is their time management isn't the best. And again, it's probably you get what you pay for, but I'd give them a deadline and then they would just take, a lot longer. And then they'd just be getting little corrections made. And then sometimes you're giving them direction and they start, telling you what I should be doing and all that kind of stuff. And it's just a miscommunication because I know what I want. So once I've asked for what I want, that's what I'm expecting in return. I don't need their sideline comments or whatever their thing is about, the images that I've asked for. I'm not going to go into detail on that, but you can kind of get the gist of what I'm saying. The next challenge is a book cover. So for me, I never had a book cover in my head even to start with, so I kind of had to come up with that. And I'm not the most creative person in the sense of coming up with a brand new idea. What I am really good at is merging ideas. So what I did is I just found some of my favorite books on similar topics, and I seen what they did on their cover, and then I changed it and made it my own. So I'm all about, don't plagiarize, don't rip someone off completely, but if something inspires you, take the idea and merge it with something else, that's fine. So my book cover is a combination of a few different books in the same genre, mixed with my title on it. Now, the graphic designer that I got was from Upwork. I tried a few on Fiverr, but again, the quality wasn't there. Some people hit the jackpot on Fiverr and get a book cover for $5. I didn't have that luck on there, but I found an awesome graphic designer on Upwork. He's absolutely fantastic. So I just give him some direction and then he just pulled it all together. Now what happened is just because I think something looks good, well, I'm not buying the book, and I'm not, it's the reader that needs to be happy with the book cover as well as me. It's got to be part me, but also for the reader. So I was very fortunate. I've got two Facebook groups that I can post in. It's number one is my Living Your Authentic Self community. And the other one is my book writing coach, Brett Odkers, has a Facebook group with all of us book writers in it, and we can post any questions that we have, and we give each other feedback. And that has just been so valuable for me because I'm getting insights and feedback onto parts that I'm not sure about, or I'm knowing that I'm hitting the mark because I'm getting the feedback saying, yes, you're on the right mark. So yeah, that's really good. Also, the good graphic designer obviously knows how to use his instruments and tools. The guy that I've got is fantastic. Like he can, if I've got the cover back, like for example, I got a proof copy back from the publishing house and it's just a bit grey. Like it just doesn't pop like it does on the original. Took it straight back to my graphic designer and said, look, mate, it's just not popping. You can't see the sun rays on it. Doesn't look as good as it does in the original one he sent me. So the difference between what he sends me as an original file versus what the publishing house sends me, there's a difference. There's not a complete match. But the graphic designer's working with me on that to fix it. And he's really well priced too. Yeah, so that's how I overcome that challenge. What else? Feedback from the Facebook groups. Oh, converting it into a PDF. So when you send off your, for self-publishing, when you send off the final copies to the publishing house, you've got to upload the files. Now, with the publishing house, I just found their website just a bit tricky to find things on there. Like it's just not, it wasn't simple. And I don't know, I'm not a real techie person anyway, but so I don't like things that are filler. I like it when it's obvious and it's easy to follow. It was just a little bit tricky finding my way around it. Yeah, lucky I had my partner Jen helps me with all that tech kind of stuff. She's good with figuring all that kind of stuff out. She's been incredibly valuable through the whole process. I think you need to have a very supportive and understanding partner during this book writing process because there's a lot of moments of like intense frustration. I've had to switch off a lot of triggers and a lot of buttons during this process. So she's been extremely understanding, so I love her for that. Converting it to a PDF, yeah, so when you upload it, they need it in PDF form. You can't load it in a Microsoft Word version. And I think because I'm using older computers, I've got an older PC and an older Mac, maybe that was the problem. But when I uploaded it, it was said that it wasn't embedding properly. I'm like, what the hell's embedding? Like, I made my bed this morning. What's that got to do with it's just so frustrating because you just don't know the language. You don't know what they're talking about. So how I solved that is I sent it back to my editor, copywriter editor on Upwork, and I said, listen, do you know about how to convert it into a PDF? Like, I understand that's simple. Like, you just go save as PDF, but it wasn't that simple. Like, if it was that simple, I would have figured it out, but there was another part to it. Frustrating. But anyway, she was able to embed the whole document, and then I re-uploaded it into the publishing house, and then it was all good. So it was happy days after that. What else? Yep. The proof copy. So yeah, once you send it off to the publishing house, they then send you a proof copy. Like I said before, when they sent it back, the cover wasn't as schmick as the original book cover that I sent them. It just wasn't an exact match, so I needed to get that fixed. It's such a good idea that they give you a proof copy. Like rather than ordering thousands and losing a stack of money and then having all the book copies you got to get rid of. It's really good that they send you one copy so then you can go through it and check. Now, just some other little things, like once you get the copy, things look different in the book than they do on your computer. For example, you have the images that I've got drawn. Some of the images, when you look at them in the proper book, they're just not big enough. Like you just can't read the words in the image, or the image isn't clear enough, whereas on the computer it looks fine, but in the printed book it doesn't. Just other little things, like you just notice, like in the titles, if the titles aren't symmetrical or don't have capitals where they need to, like it just jumps out at you straight away. Simple basic grammar stuff, and again where the editor and the copywriter was meant to fix all this stuff up, but I guess they're only human and they make mistakes too. But like you get it back, and instead of a page starting at the top, it starts one line down, and it just stands out so much. But again, ultimately it's all my responsibility, and I get that. But I'm just sharing it all with you guys so you guys know what you're up for if you choose to go down this path. The next part for me, so I've got the proof copy back and now I'm perfecting it. So I'm again working with the book cover, the graphic designer, the cartoonist and my editor. So I've got a team of people that I'm working with back and forth until we perfect it, until I'm happy with it, and then I'll roll it out in mass production. Then after that is getting it into the hands of the readers. So I need to have my website finished. I'm also building an online academy, so all of my coaching's going into an online academy. So I really want the book and the website and the online academy to be ready at the same time, because The idea of the book is to give me exposure, to place me as an expert in the marketplace, which is then going to, gravitate me worldwide. So I can then go worldwide with my coaching. So I need to make sure, the challenge is, if I have the book and then I go and try and do some public relations stuff and I hit the ground and then people are like, oh, where's your, how do we access your coaching program? Can we look at you on the internet? And it's not ready, well, then I've jumped the gun. So I want to just make sure, just be patient. One of my big life lessons is patience. Wait until it's all right and then roll it all out. As long as I'm being productive and moving forward, that's fine. So yeah, just getting the website ready. I've got people are helping me build the website, so they'll know how to install the information that people need to enter and how they pay and linking all that kind of stuff up. I don't really know how to do that, but hopefully they all figure that out. And then like lead funnels from my Facebook page and on the internet, anything like that people can click on that'll direct them to my website where the books will be. Getting it into some bookstores. And then logistics, like getting the books ordered to my place, getting signed copies, sending it off for people. Like you got to figure out, well, how do I package? Like signing it, I've got to figure out a tagline to put in the book with a note for the person. The packaging, getting it to the right addresses. Like there's just all these little fiddly things that you don't really think about I haven't really thought about it until now because I'm up to that step. So yeah, it's just another challenge to consider. And then the big main one is the public relations, getting the book out there, like TV, radio, podcast, anything, any screen I can get in front, any person I can get in front to give them my book, to help teach the world, because the book has my message in it. That's the whole purpose of it, is legacy and message. I want my message to have a huge impact and to contribute to the world evolving in a positive way. I want to have that legacy. So that's the whole idea of the book, is to get that out there. So to make sure that, all the public relations stuff set up, all my marketing's on point and it's all ready to rock and roll. So yeah, guys, those are the challenges that goes on behind the scenes. And I can tell you now that I'm using a lot of my resilience techniques, releasing a lot of buttons during this whole process. Let alone when you're writing the book and you're injecting parts of your story into the book. Sometimes you're reliving dark parts of your life and it can bring stuff up for you. And it's just another layer you've got to release. So it's a very cleansing process doing it. But the rewards are massive. Like I've already got a little taste for it. When I posted that the book was off to the publishers, the feedback I got on Facebook was like I just had a kid. It was just unbelievably good. The amount of people were stoked. People I haven't heard from in ages coming out of the woodwork saying congratulations. Just feels so good, and just to know you're connected, and I don't know, it just feels good to get the respect from people out in the community, letting you know you're on the right track and they're recognizing you're doing a good thing. Not that you do it for that, but it does feel good to have that recognition as well. And to have a book. Like not everyone's written a book. It's not an easy thing to do. When I got about halfway through the book, I realized why not everyone writes a book. So yeah, guys, those are all the challenges that I'm going through up to date. So hopefully that can inspire you as well, because it's doable. It's just the one thing that I know is just keep cracking away at it. Like Brett, my book coach, says, it's progress, not perfection. I think that if you wanted to live by one mantra for getting the book done, it's just get it done. Just keep going little bit by little bit, and eventually you get to these steps, and then call upon your support networks and that, and get people in to come and help you where you need to. But just be consistent with it and just stick true to your message, and just remember the big picture of why you're doing it. So yeah, guys, all the best with your book writing adventure if you choose to, and hope you feel inspired.